And headphones. And welcome back to the second episode of InGalactic's Opinion. Now this show is not really a show, and now I'm going to start to sound even more like Philip DeFranco when I say that it's really just a show about Linux and open source news that matters to me. Starting with the first story, which is going to kind of be an update from the previous episode story about Windows UEFI. Basically, both Canonical and Red Hat have come out with a white paper stating the potential effects and possible solutions for the Windows UEFI scandal. Basically, they're proposing one of two things. Now, first of all, if you don't know what Windows UEFI is, go and check out my previous video, link is right here. Now, basically, Red Hat and Canonical are proposing two different solutions, both of which could have potential to be very viable solutions. Number one, Canonical reckons that PCs with UEFI enabled should have a nice user-friendly interface to simply switch that UEFI on or off. Number two, Red Hat thinks that Linux should be one of the signed keys for the bootloader so that it can legitimately boot both Windows and various Linux operating systems with no obstructions as far as security is concerned. That way we benefit from both the features and the security that UEFI offer. Now, of course, there is going to be good and bad things about each of these solutions. One potential problem that I can see is that the open source community is very wide and very diverse. Therefore, it'd be very hard to create a signed key for each and every Linux operating system that comes along. However, if you have an easy user interface to switch that on or off, people could end up accidentally switching that on or off and non-intentionally bringing harm to their system. Either way, we're still going to be able to boot our operating systems. Drop me a quick line and let me know what your opinion is. Moving right along to Ubuntu. Ubuntu, of course, is now considered to be the poster child of the Linux community, and honestly, it has developed a lot in the 7 years that it's been in existence. Of course, now they are developing, of course, their own unique user experience that is appealing to the average user, not so much to those who are experienced in the Linux community. However, the Ubuntu Developers Summit is coming up, and therefore there is going to be plenty of Ubuntu news buzzing around. But before the Ubuntu Developers Summit kicked off, Zdnet managed to get an interview with Mark Shuttleworth, the founder and kind of co-creating genius behind Ubuntu. Basically, Mark Shuttleworth's goals, apart from reaching 200 million users within the next couple of years, is to roll out Ubuntu on smartphone and tablet devices of all shapes and sizes. So in his interview with Zdnet, Shuttleworth says that as people have moved from desktop to new form factors for computing, it's important for us to reach out to the community on these platforms. So we'll embrace the challenge of how to use Ubuntu on smartphones, tablets, and smart screens. So is he targeting Android here? Well, maybe yes or no, but the general opinion of the tech world seems to be that Ubuntu is going to fit quite nicely on those in-between devices. Android is definitely king of the mobile space, and iOS is definitely a very close second. However, there is a lot of these bridge devices, like tablets, like split-screen netbooks, that have a lot of portability and power advantages to them that have a big potential to run Ubuntu in the long run. However, this may or may not be something that we are going to see in the near future, as it is slated for somewhere around Ubuntu 14.04. Translation, not for a couple of years yet. Of course, the recent Ubuntu 11.10 release has been received pretty well from the external tech world. The reviews seem to be fairly nice, but at the same time, they are wanting to see more fit and polish on the core system rather than just the design and user interface. Couldn't agree more on that point. Moving right along to even happier Ubuntu news. I'm sorry for all of those of you who don't like Ubuntu. It is just a bit heavy this week, and it's what I wanted to talk about, so bear with it. A fantastic deal has been signed between Ubuntu and Dell to ship Ubuntu on a whole range of Dell laptops and desktops for sale in China. Now, this is a fantastic deal for both Dell and Ubuntu, as well, let's face it, software piracy in China is a huge deal. Therefore, these stores, there's going to be about 220 of these computer stores that are going to actually have stands with Ubuntu marketing paraphernalia all over them, with some nice logos and a lovely demonstration of the latest Ubuntu desktop, and it's going to be very, very groovy indeed. Number one, we're combating the epic amounts of computer piracy in the industry today. And number two, we're providing a stable operating system that average users can learn and adapt for their everyday needs. Of course, with all these rollouts of Ubuntu happening around the world, we are starting to see governments now running Ubuntu on the whole. China is now going to be offering them in over 220 retail stores throughout mainland China, Beijing, Shanghai included. So I think the computer world has a lot to gain by offering these Ubuntu desktops in the mainstream computing industry. For me, it definitely seems to be an interesting move. Ubuntu is really broadening its horizons, both in terms of usability, accessibility, and overall noob friendliness, it's also managing to get its fingers into the reaches of the far corners of the universe, promoting its desktops through Dell, through System 76 and other such hardware manufacturers, and in the future, tablets, smartphones, and the bridge devices we were talking about. At the same time, we also have the KDE team, which did turn 15 a couple of weeks back. I was wanting to do a news video on that. Awesome job on the KDE team, well done guys. And they are going to be porting their interface to a mobile device in the very near future. So now we have the question of the day, which is, if you were to run a Linux operating system on your mobile device, would it be KDE, or would you rather use Ubuntu Unity on a touchscreen tablet or a smartphone type device? Now it's time for the personal apologies, and that is simply that yes, life has been busy, and that means I've really only been able to limit myself to one video a week. So I'm hoping that doesn't hit you guys too hard, and I'm sure it probably doesn't. Most of you are very patient people anyway. However, I'm going to try this model of a news video, app video, and distro review, maybe not in that order. At least one video a week. That way I get to have something to do in between times, and you guys still get stuff to watch. So I need your feedback on this one. Which one do you want me to review next? I've got OpenSUSE 12.1 in the works, but I also have Xeven OS 2.0 Neptune, which is of course the Debian KDE release. I have done a video on that, so if you wanted to check that out, you can click here. But OpenSUSE is also a KDE distribution, and if you wanted to see the 11.4 review, which was the previous release, you can click here. Now, the only other thing I want you guys to know is that thank you very much for all the support and growth that this channel has received. It's been a fantastic journey for me, and it's been great to be able to have a lot more interaction with you guys, especially with these news type videos. And thanks to your help and support, I have managed to purchase an Android tablet. Now, this Android tablet will be maybe arriving sometime within the next week, but hopefully when I do get it, I will be doing an unboxing and review. So I'm not sure whether that means this channel will branch into more of a hardware review and software review, but we will see. Let me know if you guys want to see Android stuff in the future, or whether you'd like me to stick to the Linux side of things. I know there is a bit of contention about Android being Linux and one thing in the next. However, picking up an Acer Iconia A500 for only 250 Australian dollars was an absolute steal, not something I could pass up. And that is through your help and support, internet community. So my hat's off to you, and thank you very much. With that, I shall leave you to get back to whatever interwebbing you were doing before you got distracted here. Peace out, everyone.